3 I'll do it. Public authority, trade in time. Do we have everybody that is coming, do we know?
Yeah, Dar's on there and Brian had it down south, so.
We got Dar's forehead. There we go. Well, I guess that means he can hear me.
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
You can go ahead and call the word, Brian. He's coming through this.
Call meeting to order at 2:32.
We should discuss this first. I just asked you for a summary of what land banks can and cannot do in executive session.
It's not on the agenda.
It's not. You're,
You can't talk about anything that's not on the agenda.
but I guess everyone just look at, so if you don't call executive session for something you can't. It's just a cheat sheet. But you're right, in special sessions, you're supposed to stick to the agenda, not bring any new or old business that's not on here. I think this would be considered part of each of these. You can talk about for any of these you want to go in executive session for, so we can kind of frame it that way. What time did you?
32. Just making notes.
I was gonna say, who's,
He is, I thought he was right behind me. It was on a paper, so he kept printing it and I was on paper and it's firing out like 1,000 copies for me.
So we can't discuss contract in the executive session, it says.
Yeah, that's exactly, unless it's I think it has some very.
You're gonna have to talk loud, otherwise Darwin's not gonna be able to hear you. I think it made it.
Only if it's solely about discipline or removal of an individual.
Yeah, I think, or there's council trying to, I pray this out with no council present. I think there's different rules if we have a lawyer here, but yeah.
I don't know whether it's me, mine, or whatever, but Jason, you sound like you're in a wind tunnel.
Maybe if I lean forward, is that better, Dar?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
So everybody speak up, please. And look at the owl. All right,
Kier, did you have a chance to look at that thing you sent over to me about executive session? Remember, no, this kind of, it says that we can't talk about contracts during executive session.
Yeah.
Except on a very,
I just said, look at.
but you can't talk about staffing, hiring, firing, or disciplinary, stuff like that, but you're not staff or contracts, it's like a gray area.
so when
Well, the
it's a
contract-
governance decision, does that mean it's a committee decision?
I think it's just
Like
a
the
broad
finance
using
committee,
that
I mean,
word.
that's.
The bank's a cougar. Under litigation, it says cougar.
Well, it makes sense that you can't talk contracts in an executive session because you're spending public money. Right?
I thought there was something in there, but
Well, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented. I think that's something we have to do as an emergency meeting apparently.
oh. Are you starting the meeting?
I already did it. 2:32.
Right there. I'm disappointed you didn't wait for me to make my copies.
I was told to start, you were right on your way. So I'm asking for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion, Dave.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I.
This is something the county started doing this year. This past year. For every single committee meeting and board meeting, they now approve the agenda every time.
It's good for when people bring a lot of business to cloud up everything else. But we kind of stick to our agenda. So I think that will be good as long as anything that's discussed in executive session is rediscussed in open session and reflected clearly in the minutes.
Well. This is right, the last one, discussion of administrative services contract is not for permissible reason. You go, and that's your concern, right? It's your contract?
Yeah, and well, today and going forward, other contracts that we discussed, you know.
So we don't do it, executive session.
So
Moving forward,
if you would have anything controversial to say, you'd have to seriously consider
put in your tongue.
how you want to say what you're gonna say.
All right, so, property acquisition,
Up the approval for doing
we
it.
did it.
We did call for both.
I did.
Oh, did you?
I didn't get the who.
It was
Dave and
Dave and Bob, and then it was approved.
Oh, yeah, we did go aye.
You'll notice I added
I
revisions.
want to be home by dark. Let's go.
Let's do it. So the property acquisition in Houghton, let me give you a quick background, what's been going on. Remember, they approached us, Houghton, they said they wanted to help us start a subdevelopment. They were willing to, part with, the corner of their property, 10 acres. We looked at it, it was more than enough. We had it appraised. It came up to the 10 plus acres is about 33,000 appraised value. We went to the school and asked if they would be willing to gift that to us, or they wanted to buy it. They didn't know yet. They said they'd be willing to gift it if we could guarantee that they would have use of first, right to houses for staff and students or whatever, whoever wants to buy those, they could use it to benefit them, because that's why they wanted to help us. They didn't. So that since then, we shrunk the site down from 10 to 4 acres to make it more usable. We've done the site plan layout and stuff like that, and then now they don't feel confident that they will be able to provide them with the housing that they want because of the restrictions. They think their teachers might make too much, or the elderly people that they want to get in there won't make enough. So there's too many unanswered questions, they said. They didn't state what questions. So that's where we are with that. The HCR got back to us, they can send us an email, and they didn't deny our application. They had some questions about costs, because they're gonna fund pre-site development, and they don't know how much that's gonna be. So they needed more accurate quotes of how much the surveying stuff was gonna be. We had the soft cost quotes for them, we had no hard cost quotes in the application. So we're trying to get DOT specs, roads, 1,020 feet is what we're trying to build, plus tree removal, site grading, drain, like all that kind of stuff. So we gotta get hard cost quotes for that. And the date for the original grant was due tomorrow. So we, being due tomorrow, that we asked if we had extension, they said, yeah, you can have extension, didn't give us a date, they just said, just get it in as soon as possible. So we feel that they want us to get this would be a good win for them.
Sounds to me like they didn't get rid of all 120 or whatever homes that they were anticipating.
Yeah, they got a lot,
Requests.
they got a lot of applications, but I think they want to spread it around urban, rural. They really were listening to, our group when we met. We had a big group showing the need for housing in that area of the county is really apparent by Google, Zillow search, it's very apparent. So I think they realized what we need and how they can help us, but we needed those hard costs. We're working on those. So we don't think that they're gonna gift us the property, so we would like to take them a proposal. Their board meets, Houghton board meets on the 5th. So we would hope to, that's why we're meeting today, mostly was for this, to be able to say, we'll give you X amount for this parcel of land. So John's gonna share his screen so we can show everybody what we're talking about.
I am.
We're gonna put this slide in. Does that help everybody? Possibly.
John, let me know what I need to be showing first.
I would start off with the blank far right. I believe it, if they're downloaded differently. You're gonna click, yeah, there you go. So initially we had our, can I annotate this? Yes, I can. So, perfect. So initially we had our original site plan right about here, maybe a little less, probably right about here. And come down here. That was our 10 acres. That was more than enough. And it wasn't necessary for what we were really doing, and to cut our cost down from $33,000 for property purchase, if that's the way we have to go. We made the offsets for each property and the limits that were the lot dimensions required by, what do I want to say, words escaping me. The group, here, you're at the group there. Development group for zoning. There you go. The zoning group. So we meet all the aspects of that. If you click over one, Kate, this is where we're going to find where these buildings are now. They're similar structured before, but they're more narrowed down. All of these buildings meet the required offset limits, and it gives everybody approximately similar equal value. This little section down here is still up for debate whether it's going to be included with that home or not. This here is your Houghton access. This is where they're going to still have access to their property off of the road, not just down here off of the trail. But that still gives us our 10 home limit. This property here wouldn't allow for the offset limits anyway.
Real quick. These are going to be our ADA accessible homes. That's what that's
These
our
ones.
Smaller yards, locked between two rows. We thought that four out of the 10 are going to be ADA accessible. So
You want to save that little corner piece for signage or something like that.
yeah, exactly. Or they take it in, or
Build a shed for.
Disposal, the mail.
or just to pull off it's really hard to pull off on the side of that road to access that little trail that's right there.
Why is that road access at an angle at a 45-degree angle instead of the normal 90-degree?
This is just more for ease of road transition and access. Because it's on a curve there, it's instead of a right angle coming up the road and up here where it's on a straight edge, you're going to have an easier access. It's just an easier transition. And that can change too. It doesn't matter. It could come,
I was
yeah, and
just
topography is going to decide a lot of this too. So it could come straight down like this, but that's more in the design of when the engineers put their plans ultimately together, however they want to do it.
It's going to stop cars for a right turn instead of ease them into a right turn too.
Yeah.
normally you want a 90-degree angle on road intersections if you can. And also it would probably save you 50 feet of material.
Sure. All reasonable.
Yeah, because
Um,
they're gonna be able to enter and exit from both sides, correct? Correct. So
Yeah.
when they come out on the south, and assuming that's south, they're not gonna have a good line of sight going up to the right, when, you know, because they're gonna be past the curve, and their body angle is going to be looking down the hill. They're gonna be looking way over their shoulder to see traffic coming down the hill.
Or they could just go out the other way.
But, well, I know, but
Yeah.
if you're gonna let them go both ways, I agree, I think Kira's correct, it should both be 90.
Yeah, and that's a concept that can be, yeah,
For that curve, we're gonna make this.
So it's a smaller, I like the flatter dimensions. Not going back so far, that makes sense to me. We wouldn't have to do as much forestry work.
There's fire hydrants on the top and right at the north and south exit entrances of those are roads, so.
hydrant here. And there's a hydrant down here.
So we just loop.
Actually, it's right here, right at the trailhead.
Water, we're loop right from there. There's something since then. Yeah, so shrinking it down,
Talk about,
shrinking it down was it definitely to help save costs and time. And the access at the north end, the Houghton access was a kind of a carrot for the deal, you still can access your land up there, you're not gonna be landlocked in up at that north end. And at the bottom, the road will be access to their trail, which we don't touch there either, so.
Question.
Go ahead, Kate. Go ahead.
Where's the contention pond gotta be? Don't they have to have a contention
So-
pond?
We haven't discussed the retention pond yet, simply because it's a subdivision and all the septic and sewer are going into a collection system. So the displacement of the roofing and materials, that's gonna be up to the engineer and the topography. We don't have that yet. That's part of the cart before the horse, where we don't know that information as far as the survey getting done. And then what the survey produces to what the engineers can do with the topography.
Well-
But
My point being is you're gonna have to have property to put that in. If you have to have one.
I don't believe we're gonna need a retention pond. Drainage can be set up throughout these, this red, or this edge of the road here is ditch. And the ditch, if we do one, the slope goes this way anyway. And if we do that, there would be a drainage crossed here and the ditch drainage to these areas. And then either this way or this way. So that's a great question, one we can't answer yet. That's gonna be up to them. And if we need a retention pond, then maybe we move this home and this home up into this area to calculate that and leave this area as more of a retention pond if we have to do that. But
Or you take more property on the backside, on the right-hand side, put it behind the building.
either way, yeah. Just an answer we don't have yet.
Where his cursor is now, that red spot, that's the high spot, so. You have to run it down, you're probably gonna wanna put it down by the bottom of the road or about the top corner of that bottom right property, so. The topography is gonna decide that.
I'm just saying, before you get all done with the land part of it, you're gonna have to know for sure what you're gonna have to. I've never seen a housing development that didn't have to put in a retention pond by DEC standards, but whatever. Somebody smarter than me knows.
Yeah, they very well might. I don't know the answer to that either, and that's something that the engineer would figure out. That they would be the ones to figure the placement on that and the drainage and how it runs off. There's a roof, square footage, every amount of rainfall that hits the roof has to be discarded to a certain direction, certain area. So that's gonna be up to them.
To Dar's point though, we need to answer that question answered before we purchase the land in case we need more land. Don't you think?
This, a lot of these things are gonna fall under the cart before the horse, so I can't get a quote for that without an engineered drawing. Nobody's gonna say, hey, it should go here when it needs to go up or down. So it's, the cart before the horse here is really what's kind of bunking this whole thing. And it's bothered me this whole time because we can't get solid, rock solid drawings and solid engineering plans from anybody without spending $130,000 if it goes through. So this is a preliminary, this is simply a preliminary to send to HER to give them a quote so that they have a better understanding of the budget we're looking at. If we got to add a $40,000 retention pond for the budget, I don't think that's going to be something they're going to balk at. It's going to be required anyway.
And Holden might
But-
let us put the pond on in their woods.
They might.
You know, as a,
I don't want to belabor the point too much, but.
I agree. Yes.
My point is at least in the wording for buying this property, we ought to have at least a verbal understanding that if something like that happens, Houghton's gonna let us buy an additional portion to put it.
I agree. That would take the cart, put it behind the horse.
That would be the benefit of having that other property behind. It would give you more room to play on that layout.
They were willing to give us this 10 acres and we cut it down to minimize our cost. So I'm sure this is going to still be within the ballpark of possibility anyway. It's not out of the realm at all.
The 10
Just
acres
a matter-
is assessed to what value?
33.
And what are we entertaining offering as a purchase for this lot?
Okay, that's up to you guys. I mean,
It's the next item on the vote on.
Yeah.
So the resolution, I left the price amount blank and I left the spec for revision for what Dara said. They make, because we're gonna make an offer with this calculations, we're gonna submit these maps, so there definitely are revisions to be based on maps dated and labeled the John created reference to those. So we got reference to the maps, how much we want, and that other contingency with the opportunity to expand up to an acre for retention as needed or something.
It was my understanding when we first talked about this, that Houghton University was donating this property to be subdivided for housing. So I'm a little confused where they suddenly came up with, even though you and I tried to talk about it yesterday, why they think that they now would be getting paid for the property. Maybe I misunderstood.
I think it comes back to the piece that he was talking about. They were figuring this is gonna be for their folks.
Right.
But with the restrictions on income and or whatever that may bump their people out of the possibility of buying one of the homes.
Didn't
So now they-
necessarily bump them, but it did not give them the advantage. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But is that a real issue, or is that an issue that they just don't understand what AMI and whatnot actually means in local terms?
Well, yeah, I guess it depends on what the people who they intend to put in there, what they make. They're a family of 3 can't make more than like 110 or something like that,
But
101.
you also indicated that the people that we were talking to originally had not really talked to the top people. And so it's now the top people who are starting to ask all these questions because they weren't part of the conversation. Is that true?
Yeah, correct.
and they.
So when we first started this, we sat down with the River Group and several other Houghton guys, just for walkthrough purposes. And that's where we were talking about, it would be great if it would be given to us with the intent that Houghton could get several of their people in. We had several of our river meetings, as you guys know, with these people, and there was a failure of communication between them and the upper echelon of the Houghton Education Department. In which case, now we're speaking with the Houghton Education Department. We found that fail there. After speaking with them, these are some of the things that they wanted to get straightened out, and they were fear that it wasn't going to benefit them enough, apparently, with their buildings, their people, and that's where the failure of communication to where we're at now has happened. That's why we're rushing this, trying to straighten out to still get it in by the approval date, which
I
is
just
kind of
want to
left
make sure
open.
the board knew that was additional
Yeah,
discussions.
my discussion with members of the River Group was more that there's so many seniors in old houses that can't take care of them, that they would be moving to these, opening up housing for the professors and families. That was their initial thinking, not that Houghton was gonna put professors in these modular homes.
Well, both, right, so they already have staff and teachers living in student type housing apartments, they wanna get them out of there and into their own houses, and also, that's why we did 4 and 6, the 4, were in interior.
Okay,
Yeah, the ADA was, but now they're worried that the elderly people will make too little.
so on that point,
Probably not concerned.
the HCR is asking for a list of potential purchasers. Do we have such a list?
No, I don't think they're asking for that.
It was in your letter. One of the asks was a list of potential buyers.
No, I think, I don't remember exactly, sorry, I didn't quote it.
Anybody else can do that?
I believe it was a study that had to be done or
Oh,
some sort. Of the
I'll
required-
revisit that, but what I asked Houghton was for them to find people who they potentially would just get pre-qualified, then it'd be first come, first served, they wanna get their people in there. Get people pre-qualified, and then they looked at the AMI and stuff and thought, oh, it's gonna be more of a challenge to keep people between that 70 and 130% AMI. But I think they can, as long as they can buy the homes, it's not gonna matter if they're too low, if they're too high. They're over 130% AMI, they're making pretty good money, they not need this opportunity for affordable housing or attainable housing. But I will revisit that and see if there was something else that they asked us for.
It might have been a study. I just remember something about that. All right, moving on. Next slide. You got more?
Yeah, next one. So those are the home layouts. You can hit the next one over, Kate, yeah. And this is just showing the offset. I don't know if you can zoom in or not, Kate. This is just the offset limits for those homes in the center, allowing you to see that the home barely fit in there with what the property we have. So expanding or minimizing any more isn't really going to work. So this is about minimalist as you're going to get. Has a lot minimum offsets there for the interior, and the exterior ones have a slight similar. They're similar, but they have maybe 10 extra feet around the properties all. And the next one, Kate. And this is the road and the acreage. So we got 3.427 acres. That's excluding this and only including here, here, and here, and the road. So all that acreage. It's 3.42 acres. Initially, we thought it was like 5.5. So this is 3.42, which I would say would take if we cut it in half from our 10-acre plot, where they're thinking 33, cut that in half at 5, you're looking at, 16 and a half, and we're another quarter below that. So I wouldn't be outside of the realm if they were all allowing us to purchase this property with just counting for these. I would say somewhere in the 8 to 10 range, maybe 12 max. But if we're including that extra acreage, we might be pushing that 13, 14 anyway. So just keep in mind.
And also, we're gonna build the road as a private road, but to DOT spec, to circumnavigate the approvals needed for a public road. We're gonna build it to DOT spec, get all the houses in there, and then turn the road over to the town afterwards, because that's the slowest process right now. Has different secret requirements and.
We've run into a couple of individuals who don't really have the effort that we're putting in, and the effort that we were expecting from the collaborative efforts of everyone involved. So we've run into a couple of headstrong people that don't want to really do anything with it, and it's not uncommon. But we are trying to get the engineering DOT road specs from the town engineer. So as soon as we get those back from him, we'll have an exact idea of how this road has to be exactly built. So we can transfer that over to.
Yeah, we're gonna have to pull those from that 26 main design from Peter Morris, sorry, the architecture, but we're not gonna get those from anybody in the county. They said just
Oh, really?
use what we got. Yeah, they said use what we got. Confirm with an architect.
Okay.
Well,
Anyways,
So JJ, can you tell me like what one of the side offsets on those lots would be? I mean, it looked awfully small. I'm always thinking in terms of, geez, you might want a garage down the road and you can afford it. Is
those all have attached one-car garages.
that what those little bumps are?
Sure. Yeah.
correct. And they don't have to, but those are That was we included those so that we made sure the offsets were available for the garages that they were including on the cross mod homes. These are all to scale and
You notice the
Exactly,
inside ones
to
are
size.
bigger. I think we're at what, 12 and 1,500 or 15 and 1,200 on the inside ones. Slightly larger on the
The
outside.
garage come from the manufacturer.
Yeah, it's part of the design package.
The red dashed line, is that the required offset setback by their zoning law?
Yes, this is the front of the building. This would be the back of the building, and these are our sides. Yes, those are all proper offsets.
Well, that's a weird. I could imagine, the town wanting them to be the same. I don't know if they are the same.
These are for reference, so each of the buildings are gonna look slightly different, not to each, but there's alternate options for these buildings, but they're generally square footage is approximately this. So minor alterations depending on the selection of the buildings might need to be made. That's why there's a little bit of wiggle room there. The garages can be moved to the sides, they can be off to the sides. So there's slight options there. These rectangular areas are simply just for square footage and size of the approximate buildings anyway.
I'm talking about the setbacks, not the actual buildings. That is really tight. To me, if I were drawing it, I'd give a little more room to play there, but. So that you could turn the buildings completely 90 degrees or whatever else you wanna do.
Yeah, we're bare minimum to the
I wanna
ADA
put a
system.
pool in.
Well, even they just, want a deck or anything, they're jammed. But, I mean, I know we're still in the draft stage.
Will a deck would,
It's just kind of unnecessarily tight when there's
but the deck
all that
doesn't,
land behind you.
but that wouldn't affect us offset, right?
I'm just saying, it just looks awful tight. It doesn't give you.
Well,
That's what we're going for.
10 lots, and you aren't even at 4 acres. Those are pretty small lots.
Yeah, that was our intention. Starter homes with smaller lots, if we increase, we want to increase. But the small ones are ADA accessible. We wanted small yards, less noise, less raking. Good for, elderly and ADA type people. The other ones, we could go bigger, if we have a little room to move them up, like John said, we can move them up a little bit back, get a deeper backyard.
No, I'm not looking at that part. I'm looking at the ones in the circle. Cause those are just too jammed to me. That's just my.
So all that requires that is just take this road extension here and slide it out slightly, however far they'd want. This is
Yeah.
just showing minimum required dimensions. So if we offset the road another 40 feet, you can have 40 more feet of frontage in the front of the building. So that's an option. That's not.
That's what I would consider doing an extra. Move that road back 50 feet and.
Move this to here.
Move
Something
the
like that.
road,
Yes.
move the road back 50 feet and then that gives
Yeah, the
you.
road
much
would be
more
here.
room on the side.
Yeah,
So what we did, we have the bare minimums for these, so that's a 1,200 square foot in the interior houses, and with that size house, the bare minimums are set there, and then the other side of the road is the 1,500 or whatever square feet, and the bare minimums for that, so these are bare minimums to get quotes, and then we can increase.
I get all
increase the
that, I'm just
setback.
saying,
Yeah,
if I were
let you
doing
know.
it, I would give yourself some room so that you can adjust things more. But that's me.
You get all the flat land you get there, I mean, it's.
That's also another, closer to the road, the more flat land you got, you go too far behind those houses over there and it starts to pitch up real good. Up there, down here it goes up, so it's a valley right through the house.
Gotcha. Okay,
But, so I think that you're right, we shouldn't buy this footprint, if we wanna expand it, we should move the boundary up a little to give us wiggle room.
yeah, I mean, you're not talking a lot of money. Just to have a little bit of wiggle room with the building. I mean, if you spend an extra couple $1,000 on an acre or two. And then you're, again, not putting the cart before the horse.
So right now, we're under 4 acres, so if we went 5, it would.
I would do it based on what you need to move back, don't check a number.
Well, try and give us a buffer, because if then we could get, we're just getting this approved, then we take it to the engineers and like, they could say, hey, we need to move this here, move that there, we can't, I don't wanna be like, well, we don't have room. Yeah, so if we get a little bit extra,
That's what I mean. But
so anything more than this would be extra, that's what I'm saying, it's the bare minimum, so anything we do would be a little bit extra, so. But yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm not saying 5 exactly, but whatever, try to get to, move that line back and just,
yeah, whatever you need to get to Kier's point, that, so there's more room between Centerville Road and the new road. That's all you need.
To answer your question, Dave, it's 30 offset from each side of the building.
It's what, 30 feet?
mhm.
Minimum offset is 25. From here's. Minimum offset's 25.
Right. And no, 8.
That's not as bad as it looks.
8. Yeah,
Almost the room.
see about the room here. It's not horrible.
2 cars, you can open doors in between. Pickup trucks.
Yeah.
Like, parts of it.
And
What's our
I
next one there, Kate?
want to pause for a second, Jason, you want to introduce your guest, I missed that in the start.
Yeah, this is Brad Watson, he's a potential hire, we're gonna talk about a contract and bring him on. Yeah, he's a local guy, has extensive experience on kinds of stuff, but we can.
Okay.
We can do, yeah, we can go jump to that.
How do you spell your last name?
WATSON.
W, I'm sorry,
ATSON.
a what?
Sure, let's.
I thought he said Braxton. No wonder, I started.
So,
Holy shit, I gotta go get my ears.
so Jason, you're looking for, up to approval, I assume?
Yeah, you can do it by, per acre. Based on. There's all kinds, I think you guys are gonna catch this out, because I've mulled over 1,000 different ways we could approach this.
We just added 2 acres.
Yeah, I can tell you.
It was appraised at 33,000 for the 10 acres,
It was,
so 3,300 per acre,
yeah, about there, yeah.
which is bare land price. Are they looking to get retail, or have they given any?
They wouldn't give an indication, I asked them to have a representative come hash this out with me, but they said they weren't able or willing, sounded more like willing than able. They wanted us, they said, we're not saying no, but we don't think we'll be able to gift it this time, we don't know if we'll be able to spend any money. Cause I said, if we buy it, or if you gift it to us, we will pay for all the transaction fees and all that. We buy it, they're gonna be required to do some.
And if we buy it, are they still, first come, first served, are they still expecting the preference? Or their folks?
Right, well, we legally can't give them a preference anyways, so they probably figure they're still gonna be first come, first served legally able to, so.
So how much
Let's-
are you?
let's
Jonathan, are
talk
you
about
working
down
on
the
that
road.
acreage?
Let's talk about down,
Yeah, if you want to find out, I can.
What do you say?
I said,
I think-
who's going here?
Go ahead.
You, Don.
If we buy the property and we build the homes and we do the development, where do we get our money back?
We get 6% of the project cost. Which we're calculating at about 130K. So how the program works, Dar, is they'll set a price based on 100% AMI, let's say that's 200,000 per property. That's 2 million, because there's 10 of them, so we'll get 10% of 2 million.
6%.
6%, sorry, 6% of 2 million would come in from these alone, and then. If we sell them, anything we sell on them under 200, say we sell them for 150, 50 of that would be a grant. Considered a grant, and the other 150 pays them back. So the sale of the property goes back to the state, we just get a developer fee.
Okay, so when we sell we would be selling the houses, not Houghton?
Correct,
So when we sold the house, the money goes back to the state?
correct.
Okay. So Houghton, the only benefit Houghton ends up getting is the fact that they've got housing they can put people in.
Correct.
So Houghton's not donating anything to this project, basically.
Correct. So
They helped out with the application, so they did a little bit of help with the, application process, data collecting and stuff like that, organization.
The fact that we haven't had any discussion with them about what price they expect makes it hard to put anything on this resolution down at once.
I think
I don't,
from the conversations, I said, well, we cut it down to about half of what we originally wanted to, just before we got it down to 4 acres. I said, we're gonna try to cut it down to half. They go, okay, so that would be about 16, so they are thinking that we're gonna.
based on the 33.
Yes.
They think that's their, what their
Goal, that what they'd like,
where'd that number come?
appraisals, Wilkins appraisals.
We had it appraised?
We paid the appraisal,
So you're telling me they appraised each one of these acres $3,000, $3,300 per acre for undeveloped property.
correct.
You gotta be kidding me.
Well, they
Yeah.
went, so I crunched the numbers from the county page, what their property, this parcel value was. And that's what they were going off of. They took the total parcel value, divided it by their total acres, and they divided it like that. So
And sales of similar properties around, but they, nothing's really comparable apples to apples, so I think that, 2,000 an acre would be a good price for us to pay and still then take that as a friendly price. They're getting something out of the deal, they're getting all kinds of stuff.
So you're basically proposing a purchase price of $10,000 for not to exceed a 5 acre lot.
That's a good way to put it.
$3,300 an acres. Closer to 20.
Say again?
I put down 6 acres as my guess.
Yeah.
So I came up with number $19,000 at the $3,300.
At the 3,300, yeah. He's saying go with 2,000.
Well, we never heard, that's the first time I heard that.
Right, I'm
We
just,
just talked about 3,300 the whole conversation,
I know.
so.
Yeah, I'm saying we should request a discounted price because of the nature of our business and then they are going to benefit from that.
So how are you gonna negotiate this? Are you going in knowing we give you $19,000, but you're gonna try to get it for $10,000? And they say, well, no, we don't wanna do it for 10, and is it gonna be
I'm
that?
gonna write a purchase offer for whatever you guys say. So if you say 3,000 an
So
acre,
they say, no, that's not good enough, then you walk.
hopefully maybe in their offer, we ask them to request, they say no, then at least request a counter offer, something.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, are we gonna give you a number in your back pocket? Or is that what our
Are we,
thinking
I
is?
know what he's saying. Are we giving you a not to exceed number?
Yes, that's what I said.
Are you gonna go in there and say,
Negotiate.
we're gonna give you 12,000 for 6 acres? And yet have, like he said, 2,500 an acre as a not to exceed number.
I think I'd rather just come back to you guys with their counter offer at our February meeting.
That's what I'm trying to get
Yeah,
at.
'cause they didn't even invite me to the meeting.
Are you negotiating or are we
Yeah, I
just
don't even
making an offer and?
Yeah, I see what you're saying now. No, I don't even have a seat at the table. I'm just presenting.
Oh, then I think we need to come up with a number per acre between 2 and 33.
I'm
Do we
having a
need to
little,
put that-
I'm,
I
I'm
don't
having
know
a
if
little,
we need to-
I'm having a little problem here. Are we on an executive session here?
No,
Then they know what we're talking about because this is all videotaped.
I know, but we're not allowed to discuss this in executive session. Because we're spending
there's nothing
public
wrong with
funds.
that. I wish they'd
It
have
was in
watched
the
the previous,
email we got.
previous episodes of our meeting, then we wouldn't be here probably.
Okay. No, Dar, we looked it up and we can't do this in executive session.
Well,
And
I
we
read
invited
that,
the meeting, so
I
we're
read
not
that,
having nothing.
I read that bit about the open contain, or open meeting law too, and I didn't interpret it that you couldn't talk about negotiations or what to do or how to approach a situation under a contract application. After the contract is, as I understood it, but fellas, you aren't telling anybody that they'll come back and tell you $3,000 an acre. All they got to do is watch the video. So whatever you offer isn't going to matter.
True. If they go to that effort.
Right, they're the ones that, they signed a site control affidavit with us. We have an MOU with them allowing us to access their property and do this pre-development work. I think they understand that we don't want to pay market value for a project or multi-million-dollar project we're bringing to their neighborhood.
So if this all comes to fruition, whatever that is. If it all had fruition, it all happens, we're getting this money back from the state, is it part of the pre-development?
If we will, like I said, we get that development fee.
Is it part of the 6%? It's not,
We can't get that money until we get awarded. This would be.
I'm asking you. We don't have to wait to sell the homes.
Correct.
We're gonna have money for the road, all the sewer, the water, all that's coming out of the state.
Right, I believe that they'll be delivered, all that money will come to us, and every time we get a draw, say we get 500,000 for the road, 6% will come in. We ask another 500%, they'll do a 6% of every chunk that we ask for to do the work.
And this purchase of the land is part of that money, or do we have to own the land? Is my question.
You don't have to own the land, we have to have a pathway to owning it, so if, we don't have to wait till we close, if we get this
Right.
contract, they'll consider
But
that.
will they pay us?
No, they
Well,
won't,
That's what I'm trying to get at.
they won't reimburse us specifically, reimburse for the purchase of the property, but,
Okay,
so we'll have to pay it out of our proceeds fund now, pay it out of the general fund now, and then just take that as our contribution to the program, to the project.
okay.
You
So,
don't have the money in the general fund, my friend.
We don't have, what do you mean, we don't have $10,000?
Yeah, you got 10,000. I'm still wondering where my 200,000 is.
it's allowed,
Hold on a second, Kate's talking.
or.
We just got a big chunk. Did you look at the bank account today?
Not today.
We'll see what substantial.
Yeah, check it out, we just got a big chunk.
I would say that's where we're at. So we can actually talk about the dollar in executive session. But I'm questioning that, I think it's premature to put a dollar amount down on this resolution. And just make it a simpler thing stating that the chairman and the executive director can attempt to negotiate
Purchase
the purchase,
of 6.
which will be approved at a regular meeting. And not put the dollar amount out at this point, because we don't know what it is. Something like that.
It's a guideline, my point of view, I'd say I would go $2,000 an acre for up to 10 acres. Up to 10 acres, so if we decide to take less, fine, if not, it would be probably to our advantage to have some kind of a buffer zone. If we can get it reasonably. That may not be developable property for them anyway.
It is not. That's why we kind of cut it back in, it's just kind of be just yard usage for the bigger,
Yeah.
to get a little bit more per property, but we're gonna be regulated on what we can charge anyway, so.
I may have missed some, but who owns this property now? College?
University, yeah.
University?
Hey, Darwin, when you're talking to Dart asked, what, did we get money into the general fund?
We got it didn't go into the general fund,
But,
but we got
yeah,
a
yeah.
deposit, and there's already first out in the general.
So what do we have?
I don't
What?
have
Yeah, but what just came in, or big,
We got $129,000 deposit this week,
and some of that's going to general fund?
all but like 30,000 of it.
So 100,000.
Right,
Yeah, we got, the money came in, Darwin, it came to the grant fund, we just gotta move it over to the proceeds fund. About 80,000, what is it, about 90 to 100, that will be going into that fund now.
Okay,
Are you comfortable doing a negotiation or?
Yeah, I expect, especially if Brian is part of it, making sure we're comfortable legally.
When's your meeting?
They meet on Zoom on the 5th.
you said you weren't invited.
I wasn't, but I can try to ask to be invited.
Say that again?
I can ask, they haven't asked me to join, but I could possibly ask to be a guest if they're,
I'm not available after 3 o'clock.
well, even if you came up with a game plan with me, we could. I'm not sure when they meet, it might be later.
I'm not sure if my screen is sharing or not, Kate.
It just went away.
This one?
Says you paused. Screen
Oh.
sharing.
Is it?
No.
Oh, there we go. Okay, is that better?
There it is.
So this is a 50-foot offset is all. So we would take everything and move it 50 feet up, and that would put us at 5.039 acres, just moving it that far. So just over 5.
That's his one.
Well, that would give 25 feet more on both sides of the road, so.
That's what I was shooting for. So.
And possible pondage area. We want to factor that too.
Yeah, so Dave's statement about up to would help, because then we can get the contract moving, and then once we get the engineers in there, they can say this is the exact dimensions and it's 5.29 acres or whatever, and then we're exactly paying for exactly per acre and where we need to put the acres where we want. It makes more sense than going to them with a map, then we're held to that footprint. Case they're like, well, you could just cut this way, or, you know, there's all kinds of unknowns.
So we've talked to them. But yet the powers that be have not invited you to a meeting for further discussions. Is my reading that right?
Correct, but they're expecting a proposal from you guys for the purchase at their next February meeting.
Honestly.
This is just a guesstimate retention pond, so just over 5 acres. 5.28 approximately.
All right, but in that section, is that a point, is that flat ground that you could have a retention pond?
It's like a ravine about where he's at.
Yeah, actually, that area right there is probably one of the deeper areas of most of it. That's why this is crammed up here, because right in through, won't do much of a polygon, but right in through here, it goes deep.
There's a big ravine.
That's the deepest part where remember how we initially spoke of this, and there was 60 foot of elevation difference that would be from up here to back in here. And this is where that deepest part of that ravine really is, where everything really dives in.
Oh, it's a ravine, that's a natural retention pond there.
That's what he's thinking. When I
Back
see
in
it.
here.
All right, let's come to some sort of conclusion so we can move on. So what's the board going to authorize Jason, possibly myself?
I just threw your name on it. You could put somebody else on it, not me. I always pay what I ask for at a car dealer, so you want.
Yeah, I'm not crazy. Ed's a better negotiator than I am, trust me.
What day of the week are we talking?
Thursday, your day off.
I like
Zoom.
Keith's suggestion, the fact that we as a board authorize them to go in and negotiate, come back to the board.
And
I
it's
mean, you
reasonable.
basically, you already did that by going in and saying, okay, how much do you want for 10 acres? So now we're still in the negotiation, if you will. So authorize them again to go negotiate for less.
Thursday, February what?
That you didn't have time, though.
Well, I gotta look, make sure I'm still home that week. Yeah, I could do that.
All right, change it to Ed. My name, I'm no longer higher than that. All right, so it just, you can come back with a,
Is there a motion and a,
I got,
so the motion would be to,
I'll make the motion that
yeah,
authorizing Ed and Jason to try to negotiate a reasonable deal for the
Board approval.
needed acres that'll be brought back to the regular board.
5.5 acres.
I didn't specify the acres.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I did
No
not specify.
specification.
I did not specify the acres because we don't actually know what we need today. So we're trying to get a
per acre price?
per acre price that they can agree to up to whatever, 10 acres, which hopefully is less than 20,000, but who knows what it'll be.
I'll second that motion.
any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. St. Philip's Church, we have, that one with the today.
I just want to talk briefly about, because this has been brought to me by county legislator and a community member. The community member actually was able to get me this report regarding the hunt engineer's review of the facility. The county acquired this building along with two other structures in the village. I'm gonna say 5-6 years ago, when the Episcopal Church was pretty much shutting down in this area. And the church itself is not an obvious, like, what to do with it kind of space. It has limited facilities, they have no bathroom or anything in it, so it's gonna require some work. It's actually in an R1 zoning district supposedly. I have not double checked that, but that was what I was told.
R1 being.
Residential, single family residential.
It's in the report.
And so. The county got this report and the subcommittee. Basically said they didn't see any use for the structure for the county. And they weren't really too excited about. Putting any money into it to fix it anyway. So. The elections. Office and some county court thing is using the other two buildings. And there's a parking lot there. So. They had in talks of that subcommittee said, well, let's just bulldoze it. We'll sell the stained glass windows and recover anything we can out of it that's nice, but. And let that go. But let's bulldoze it. And some of the folks in the village and community are up in arms about that decision. Because it's an old Gothic historical structure with history for the community. So that's bringing us back to us. They're looking for somebody that might be able to see a better direction to go with it than what the county came up with. The committee has no authorization to make that decision, but way these things work is the committee would then refer it to the committee of jurisdiction. And then they would, somebody else would, the rest of the legislature would decide to bulldoze it. So if they
Basically,
don't,
that's what the report says. They recommend it would, you could build a brand new structure for a lot less than you could do, make that useful.
right, so. You know, if we wanna be the savior of the Episcopal Church, we could look into it more. Being an R1, it's a single family, it would be a really interesting place to put a single family unit in there, but I haven't looked at it from that perspective at all myself, and it would need a lot of help. So I promised that I would bring it up to this board to see if there was an appetite to even take one little step to see if there was anything to do with it or not.
Where was this site at again? Here?
This is the Episcopal Church
Cass Crosby's under development.
on the main road between, just before you get to the library, in the village of Belmont.
Might be smart for the county to put it in the land bank and have us hold it until they can figure out something better to do with it. At least it's not in their coffers, and then we can.
And we would need them to subdivide the lot. Because it's a single lot with 3 structures and a parking lot on it. And ideally, we would want it to be a big enough lot. That at least you can get a couple of parking spaces and stuff on it. It's not a huge space around it, but there is some grassy space out there.
My personal thoughts, we had enough on our plate.
Didn't the engineer report say that it was basically unsavable?
That's not the interpretation of everybody.
From a cost benefit standpoint.
Probably from a cost benefit. I also, you know, and I'm not saying anything against Hunt and their architectural staff, but I'm not sure that they would see things the same as a Clinton Brown, who is used to saving old buildings. A group like that would see it, and they may have somewhat different analysis of the situation.
Yeah, but there's a difference between putting $2 or $3 million into a building on Friendship Main Street and have 3 or 4 or 5, 6 apartments plus a residential area versus saving a church that you can't do anything with. If you turned it into residential, you might get 1 family or 2 in it. And put $2 million into that. My recommendation is to walk away from it.
I agree.
I would say if anything, we could hold it for them until they find something better, but residential doesn't seem like.
Then we're stuck with it. Cause they're not gonna, once it's out of their hands, they're not gonna think about it.
Let's do this.
I don't want us to be the bad guys when it ends up being tore down.
Yeah,
For that.
that's exactly.
I think it should be more offices.
What?
I think it should be offices for them, I don't know why they.
Well, there's not enough room to even do anything.
It's a team, team. I don't know how you make a single family resident out of it.
No bathroom, that'd be.
Look at the pictures.
I looked at, I know where it is.
I mean, I don't know.
We can make a formal vote on it for, discussion at the February meeting.
Yeah, so I did what I said I would do, which was bring it to the group. I think we should maybe read it again and, but it's not very long. It's not much of a report.
Yeah, I read it once.
So. And put it on the February regular.
Sounds good. All right. Moving on. Administrative contract.
Okay, now I'll give Brad, this is Brad, I wanna bring him on to help us out as we, expand. I have to think there's a very good chance that we will be doing the subdevelopment. HCR seems to be pushing it through. We've got some contractors online to get us those quotes we need. We have projects that we're closing out. We got that grant right on the heels of this next one. And having an extra person would be, key for me. I'll let Brad, well, actually, we can go, do you meet everybody? This is Brad. This is, we met, Ed Dollar.
You know,
Salzer.
Maybe.
Kate Williams.
Your
It happens again.
And Dar.
And Darwin, yeah, Darwin. This is,
I didn't hear any of that conversation. It was all garbled on my end.
All right, this is Brad Watson. I'd like to bring him on to our team. I'll give him the floor real quick to talk about his background. Go ahead, Brad.
I come from a pretty extensive construction background, operating heavy equipment, a lot of site work, OSHA training and safety and health. Everywhere from septic systems, worked for about a decade for Kelly Construction out of Friendship, where we did immense amount of site works from 11 acres of 50-year-old virgin property, putting buildings and homes on and driveways to roofing. My main forte is, health, safety, electronic security was a lot of my background, wiring, keeping things protected and safe like that. But when it comes to, and I've been a contractor, self-employed contractor for the last 8-10 years. In the last 6 years, it's been a little less from a physical injury that I recovered from. And I've been back the last 2 years and facing off in this opportunity, and with my experience and background and, knowledge, it seemed like a really good fit for me, and having a great concern for the county I was born and raised in. If there's anything that can contribute, it's my home, and I've been back for quite some time. I lived in Buffalo for quite a while. I've worked for DI Steel Constructors. We was a project manager and operator for doing all the new entrances, so it was a lot of these projects, destruction of the old, building the new, new mezzanines, new entrances and stuff. A lot of rehab as well as new, but probably the majority of my work has been repair, rehab, or development properties in one way or another.
thank you.
And so the next question is gonna be, do we have the money in our current operations contract? We do not, but we have program delivery money from our grants. So every grant, the last couple of grants we've had is 5% program delivery. Which we haven't needed it, so we've been putting it into other stuff a little at a time. Because like I said, every time we make a draw, say we owe Clinton Brown $100,000, we ask for $105,000, 5% us into it, and it goes into our general fund. So we do have the program delivery available of over 40.
Where's that
Like
money?
that. In phase 2 program delivery, and in the 2.2, the capital grant that we're spending now, 1.3 million. And then
And if we don't get the cross-mount project,
if we don't get the cross project, we'll still
is
have,
there, I know, but is there work?
there'll still be work, yeah, we'll still have, work for them, and that next grant will kick in too. And if we don't get either of them, then we have to lay them off after 6 months, but we have money to get them 6 months, and then after that, we should have opened up our other, renew this grant, our operations grant, so we have enough to get us to our next grant rounds. But if we waited to hire till then it's all to catch up, and we're already into some of those bigger projects.
How many people have we interviewed?
I've not interviewed anybody besides Brad. I didn't publicly post it. I had, if you remember the last meeting, I had Matt Chavez, who was from the Niagara Land Bank. I had him tapped to come and help us out. He ended up taking a job up in Niagara Falls, with a big construction firm who, wants to help us out too. So we have a meeting with them this Friday, but, so I was kind of, burst my bubble that Matt wasn't gonna be able to come on. It's hard to find someone with expertise. It didn't seem like to put it out to bid, put it out to advertise the position. And from past experience, didn't seem as valuable as going out and finding someone myself, doing a recruiting instead of just publicly looking for someone.
But he's not working for us, he's working for you, so.
Correct.
It doesn't have to be bid or anything.
Correct.
It's, Yeah, so to your point, we're just talking about the contract with fourth sector and what additional things do we get out of it?
Extra
Or
hours,
extra $40,000.
you get extra hours, which will, allow us to do multiple things. Like this whole thing has really sucked up a lot of our admin hours between Kate, me and John, so we've, put an immense amount of hours that we needed to get this thing going, which we weren't, because we're not getting paid from that, so pretty much we can be paid to do a lot of the paperwork already. So this would allow us to, do multiple projects at the same time. It'll save hours with John in the car, which gets him with project manager. It's gonna, you get more bang for your buck out of what we're already doing by having an extra person along.
I'd like to speak to the fact that even that we are considering that we may need the extra personnel is a big plus for this organization. We started with you, and whether we agree or not to the extending the contract, it shows all the work the board and your group have done. So kudos to the fact that we are even considering bringing on another person. So
Yeah,
I just wanted to say that.
appreciate that. And initially, when I hired John and Kate, the one of the first things you asked was, well, when are you gonna get so busy that we can put them
Right,
full-time? And because of their other stuff they have going on, neither John or Kate could go on full-time, so this is in lieu of John coming on full-time. My first goal was to get John full-time. He has other things that he wants to do and other ventures he wants to take. He's gonna stay on still part-time, so this would be similar to me getting John full-time.
So you would have 3 part-time people, is that what you
Correct.
told?
Anybody else have any questions?
Are we intending to vote on this today?
I think that is Jason's intent.
Yeah, I'd like that certainly. Start training, get it.
What does that modify your contract?
Does he have a copy of it, Jason?
Yeah, I sent it in the, I might not have sent it correctly, that's right, I sent the wrong thing here earlier. It modifies it plus 37,000.
Darwin, it says, after the normal stuff at the top, it says, addition of part-time employees, scope of services is hereby amended to include the provision of 1 part-time employee at 0.5 full-time equivalent, be titled Community Development Specialist. Duties of this position shall include but not be limited to general contractor coordination, maintenance and security oversight, project support, and program delivery. And the amount would be an additional 37,000 per year. Which would bring our total amended contract to $225,000 per year. We'll put that.
Well, if there's no other questions for him, I guess I call for a motion and we discuss and vote.
Just one question. Do we have? If we find out we didn't get all this. Is it built into the existing contract that, you know, we can back this stuff off mid-year? Everybody aware?
Into my original contract. I think it's open language, you could terminate or renegotiate at any point. If it's common language.
I mean, I can see the need if we get go ahead. I can tote on this bigger 10 houses needing this, but it's a little harder to know, what are you really needing 6-8 months?
Well, I think if we wait, there's so much to be done to get that project approved. And I think if we did, again, cart before the horse, but I think to
Even if we didn't.
increase the chances of getting this project, having the extra personnel I would assume that's one of the main goals at this point.
I think it'd be valuable even if we don't get the even if we didn't get cross because we have all of our projects shut down right now for different oversight things, DEC stuff, different things that and now it's Paris time. So even without the crosswalk, we have the 2 million on the heels of this, or another LBI money coming behind it, which is more than our original one anyway, so that would, we're going from 1.3 to 2 million, assuming we get the full amount. That would be, that's more projects too. We have,
When does your current contract end?
it's a 2 year, so it's 25 and 26 would be January January 2027. It would be.
Yeah, we got another 11 months.
Yeah, that's why it's an addendum and not just a new contract, because it's a 2 year contract we did before.
Anyone know to make a motion?
Well, in order to further discuss it, we gotta make a motion.
Mm-hmm.
So I would make the motion.
Does anyone want to second that motion?
I will, Bob.
Any more discussion?
Your point. Can you explain to me the language that you were just, the common language? I'm on the same page as here in that. What happens if 2 months from now, we find out that we really don't need the other body? You don't need the other body, I mean.
Yeah, I could have used them for the last 3 months. That's from my point of view, I'm like, oh, we're getting bottlenecked because of oversight and stuff like that, so we could use them now, but if could use them for the last 3 months. But if going forward, if we didn't, I can't picture a scenario where we don't need them in the future, because we need them now. Especially as 4 to 6 gets out of its stabilization and gets into actual work. It's gonna be multiple crews on site. Grover Street's gonna be fired up again, multiple crews there, so it's almost advantageous that we're shut down right now, or we would be absolutely swamped for at this time of year, which is tough. Because this is the Paris time of year, annual report time of year, annual audit time of year. It's just kind of a blessing in disguise that we're shut down, but when things actually all turn on at the same time, after DEC gets pushed through, we're gonna be quite swamped. And at least enough to get us through to the next year, and it's, we just then also we have no projects going forward, but with what we have on the docket right now, we can definitely use our help.
And you said that if you ran out, you did not have work for him, then you would lay him off. If didn't have work for him, the funds. If you
Yeah.
didn't get any more money, the 40,000 you have would be gone, then he'd have to be laid off. Because there'd be no other, because we don't get.
Right, well, this would be enough to actually pay him for a year, but if we don't need him, if everything just shuts down, but yes, we have that.
That's true.
Very good.
So
Alright.
can I speak on this at all? Can I give
Sure.
advice or thoughts and comments? One of the things I'm doing is I'm moving forward with a venture I'm doing on my own. So I'm going to be putting forth a lot of the extra effort I've been giving outside of the extra here, is towards my business I'm doing as well. And bringing someone on now would think be advantageous to anybody that's going to be help filling any point and role. If anybody leaves, any one of us in particular, but Brad being able to work closely with me, he will also be able to handle a lot of the things that I'm going to be stepping away from as I walk away as well. And then taking away myself and when however long it takes, a year, 2 or 3 or whatever, that's a part-time employee. Brad, a part-time employee, would ultimately make me one full employee that he wanted anyway. So you would still have the 2 part-time employees with 2 different minds, 2 different areas to be able to go to rather than one full-time employee. It's definitely advantageous to fourth sector, and I think the land bank going forward as well.
Thank you.
And also it should be noted that John bills me for 20 hours a week and definitely goes over that.
Yeah. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, vote. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Motion carried.
Thanks, guys. You'll be happy with your purchase.
Thank you. All right, we got one more thing, we'll be done. Are we doing communities today? No, oh, God.
No, honestly.
I was gonna have to find a ride home.
We did. Yes, so, yeah, yes, if you're all looking at that map, if you're looking at the plat map for 111 Main Street. Doris, I don't know if you had, did I send one out here that you could share on the screen? Probably didn't, probably only sent it here.
No.
That was last thing.
He's seen this
You're
map.
talking about Bolivar.
Yeah, the Bolivar, plat map, if you look at the top right corner, the northeast corner of the boundary line. And then you go up from there, you see the well, the W in the middle of the north line. That's that open well, that the DEC is aware of. The village of Bolivar wants to put a sign on that corner, but the DOT owns that corner. So I've been discussing with the mayor of Bolivar and talked to Jim Ball. We can cut off this parcel to include that corner and the well. And possibly get us off our hands, then it makes our lot more sellable, more developable, because it won't slow us down. If we no longer will own that well, and the village will meet their objective of being able to have a little chunk to put a road sign.
That's an oil well.
Yes.
I make the motion to sell the oil well.
Well,
We have a second?
but we were hoping to give what I wrote in here was to give it to them and cover all the costs of transfer for them.
Very nice of us.
So is that what your motion was gonna read?
It's whatever this says. I just was reading one.
So for the people at
That's good.
home, the
Yeah.
motion is going to subdivide the parcel known as 11 Main Street, Bolivar, into small sub parcel to be transferred to the village of Bolivar, no cost to the village.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next meeting, February 23rd. Same time, same place, same back channel. Motion to adjourn.
So.
Before, excuse me, before we
Oh.
adjourn, could I go back
Go
to
ahead.
voting?
Sure.
If it all comes to fruition that we get to the point where we're putting in, where we actually get the property and get it graded, how many houses a year do we propose to build?
Once we get the sites ready here, they're gonna start coming in one a week.
That's start.
They're one a week until they're placed. Once the lots are ready, the manufacturer can make in their factory one a week, so they'll start pumping them out at that rate after that.
So we're talking, theoretically, we're talking probably whole project 2 years, if everything went right.
Well, if
Or
you count
less.
it'll be way less if we don't do the public road yet, but we'll be able to do everything in a year. And then next year after that, we'll be moving that road to a public road.
Yeah, but you gotta build the road, right?
Correct.
So I'm saying the site prep and the road, what? Well, it might be 6 months, maybe. So
We're
yeah,
hoping to
maybe
start placing homes, we're hoping to start placing homes in November.
of this year.
Yeah,
There was a timeline that was set out, I don't know if it went to
I
everybody or
just
not,
look at you, 'cause I just,
but the timeline that an engineer put together showed that there's enough soft cost work to be done, and it's gonna take close into the fall. So,
and we'll be able to do the seeker internally, Dar, which will speed up things too.
How did I miss all this information? Okay,
that one was a conversation between Jason and myself.
Yeah, it's just, a lot has happened in the last couple of days with trying to get these quotes from contractors and whatnot.
Okay,
Right.
did you get the motion and who seconded it? Cause I didn't.
Here and
We're still looking at 2 houses in Whitewood?
Correct, so the whole project's 13, but we're focusing on these 10 in. Yeah, so 2 in Whitesville, 1 in Wellsville, and 10 in Holton.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you all.
Hey, we